You're listening to The Moose and the Loose, your 10 minutes action-packed financial podcast with your host, Mike Yahoo.
Hey, what's up, Market Moose? Mike from The Moose on the Loose. What if I told you that you could do incredibly well by selecting only 10 companies that are not getting much love as of late, but with those 10 companies, with a super easy set of rules, you could regularly beat the TSX. And that's actually how the strategy is called, is Beat the TSX. I'll be honest, before I decided to do this show today, I had an idea in mind saying, well, how can a portfolio, including dogs, literally, like Bell, like Enbridge, TC Energy, Algonquin, my favorite bank, Scotiabank. I mean, and you know that if you listen to this, you're probably smiling there because it's like one bank that I really dislike. TELUS, Pembina, Emera, CIBC, and Power Corporation. So a lot of companies that are offering a very high yield. Actually, that's the overall idea of the Beat the TSX is you look at the TSX 60. So the largest 60 companies trading on the TSX, you sort them by yield from the highest one to the lowest one, and you pick the first 10. So the first highest yielders of the TSX, you buy them equally weighted every single year. You rinse and repeat on January 1st, and you sell whatever is left to buy the new set of 10 and to rebalance it like equal positions, so 10% in each. And boom, there you go. You have your portfolio and it's doing well and it's just incredible. And I done a few shows on this one, but today what I wanted to talk is I was just curious to see how this set of companies, because I look at them and I'm like, I'm not willing to hold most of those for a very long term. And I actually sold Enbridge in my portfolio at the beginning of 23, and I really don't regret it, even though we have like a small bounce back. I mean, it's actually just a comeback from the price I actually sold in 23. So nothing lost here, but just to show, Algonquin cut their dividend again in 24, so definitely not that type of business that I would go for. Scotiabank did not increase its dividend this year and will not for the rest of the year. So if you're like hoping for a dividend increase, it's not going to happen. Reported like 3% dividend growth last year and in 22 as well, so barely making inflation, and this year just literally failing to keep up with inflation. So those kind of companies, not really my type. And yet, between January 1st and September 30th, I've pulled out the total return as of like 1 p.m. yesterday. So like maybe like it's going to be a little bit off if you do it again today. But anyways, you're going to get the point. On average, you had like total return. So that's capital appreciation plus the dividend. That portfolio would be up roughly 15%. So 14.98 to be exact, but still 15% up year to date. As compared to XIU, which is tracking the TSX, that would be up by 16.19. So still lagging a little bit behind the TSX 60. Kind of ironic because the overall the strategy is called the Beat the TSX. As you can see, for like 9 months, it's not working. But let's be honest, over the past, I can't remember when it started, but it started like a while ago, and it constantly beat the TSX for real. So there's still like 3 months to go this year. So chances are it's still going to happen, or it's going to be very close. However, I was very, very surprised to see the result. But now, there is like one thing that is really hard to follow with the Beat the TSX is its simplicity. When something it is so clear and so easy and so simple, most of the investors are not following it. And I hear that a lot of, oh, I do about the TSX, or I do a little bit of the Beat the TSX. And I'm like, no, you do it or you don't. And here's a very tough example. If you have Manulife in your portfolio this year, you are smiling. The stock price plus the dividend, you're making about 40% return since the beginning of the year. That's kind of crazy, right? Well, imagine that on January 1st, 2023, there was Manulife. So in 23, you were holding Manulife the entire year. But on January 1st of 2024, you had to let it go and replace it by Emera, because now in January 2024, Manulife, the yield was lower, Emera was paying a higher yield, and then you have to let it go right before it booms. And it's hard. It's hard to let go of stocks just following a simple rule of you're not in the top 10 high yielders. Well, too bad. I have to sell and then invest in another one. And the problem often happens because you're not going to do that, right? It's going to be very hard for you to just hold just 10 stocks. Because, I mean, if you do 10 stocks plus other stuff, again, it's not the Beat the TSX. Maybe you're going to do well. Maybe you're not. But the nature of the Beat the TSX is just holding 10 companies, the highest yielder, and you rinse and repeat every single year. And that makes it so difficult to follow because you're just following a set of simple rules, but not necessarily with a very strong conviction, right? I mean, some people could do it. I could not. And ironically, just to be fair, while the Beat the TSX is not beating the TSX so far this year, I don't beat the TSX either. I just looked at my portfolio and I'm up like a little bit more than 12%. So I'm even worse than the Beat the TSX and definitely worse than the TSX itself. Lagging big time. I mean, roughly like 4% behind XYU, which actually I don't care. I don't care because of the level of conviction in my portfolio and on those stocks. And also because 9 months is nothing. I mean, it's just a snapshot. I just had that idea and I just wanted to dig a little bit deeper. And actually, I was surprised to see how, again, this year that strategy was working. But for my portfolio, I don't invest for 9 months. I don't even invest for 9 years. I invest for the next 50 years. I'm 43, so thinking, okay, so best case scenario, I live until 93, so I still have like 50 years to go. And hopefully, I will be able to give a part of that portfolio to my children so they can continue to manage it going for the long run. So 50 years is kind of like the bare minimum of my investment horizon. So lagging an index for 9 months doesn't mean anything, but it's what means something is if you are able to stick to your strategy and if you are able to just do that and nothing else. So again, if you want to follow the Beat the TSX, that's the 10 companies that you should have in your portfolio right now are Enbridge, BCE, TC Energy, Algonquin, Scotiabank, TELUS, Pembina, Emera, CIBC, and Power Corp. And that's it. If you have anything else, well, you're not doing the Beat the TSX, but you may have another strategy, but it's just not that. So you cannot expect to have the same returns. Now, between you and me, Moose, I really prefer to go for companies with stronger metrics. Like half of them of the Beat the TSX are okay. The other half, not so much, let's be honest. So instead, when I start looking for a new component of my portfolio, I recently bought Stantec. You can see the video on my YouTube channel from last week. I start with the Rockstar list. So amazing timing to download the Rockstar list at moosemarkets.com/rockstars. Why? Because we just updated it. So the update will be sent this very Friday. So we updated it as of September 30th. So once a month, we update the list. This list includes all the companies showing positive revenue, earnings per share, and dividend growth over the past 5 years. So companies that have been thriving. And I would be curious over the long run how this list or picking from this list could actually beat the TSX, but there are too many stocks. Of course, they're not all great companies, but it is a very solid starting point. So go on moosemarkets.com/rockstars. Enter your email. You're going to be able to download the list right away, and the updated version will will come in a few days in your inbox. Nothing to do, so you just receive it next Friday. All right, Moose, that's enough for today. We're going to talk again tomorrow. And until then, don't forget to stay invested.
Hey, welcome to the disclaimer. If you're listening to The Moose and the Loose, you cannot really expect me to give you buy or sell recommendation or financial advice, right? You're here for fun, you're here for information and some entertainment. But I am not your financial advisor, I am not your broker, so therefore I'm not liable if you're losing money after listening to the podcast. If you're looking for some advice, go see a professional. If not, you can enjoy the show and do your due diligence after it.